Some of the most important moments of your life that shape who you are as a person are the moments that you do something for the first time. Your first meal that was more than just mashed carrots and breast milk. Your first birthday. Your first time going to school. Your first time hitting a 3-point jump shot buzzer beater in a high-stakes basketball game. Your first kiss. Your first friend. Your first enemy. I still remember my first online critic. Shoutouts to Boney Tony from the GameFAQ.com forums. You diabolical son of a bitch. I will never forgive you for the things you used to say about my Battlefield Bad Company 2 Fun Tactics videos. You revolting bastard. You're still on my naughty list. Point is, life is a journey of firsts. And today, I'm taking another step on that journey by doing a first for my channel. I'm going to just be going full-blown gushing grannies on something that I think is criminally underappreciated right now. I don't ever do this because I feel like there's just not a lot of things that are genuinely underrated. I see this trend a lot with YouTubers and Reddit in particular in a big way. This is a goddamn full-blown epidemic on Reddit and has been since its inception, where they'll be like, does anyone else remember this little obscure diamond? And then it's a picture of like Red Dead Redemption. Or, I bet none of you remember this hidden gem, it just never got the love it deserved. And then it's a picture of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Like, people choose these things and pretend like they were underrated just so it feels more special, when 9 times out of 10 that's not the case. So when I talk about something being underrated, it's something that I genuinely feel most people aren't talking about, haven't talked about, or maybe don't know about, or maybe they forgot about. So that's today's topic, because there is a show that just finished for the season that I really feel most people let slide under the radar for some reason. And I just think that's such a shame, because it does something I've never seen a show do before, which is taking a huge risk in changing everything about it in a big way. And it worked off magnificently if people had only given it a chance. Now, the show I'm talking about is probably one you have heard of because season 1 was huge. It's an anime called Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga Season 1 was up there with Demon Slayer in terms of how talked about it was. And it's a show that gets my dog excited too. Isn't that right, Tetra? I know, it's a banger. It is a banger, I know. And everyone liked the season of Vinland Saga. First season was a smashing success, and Season 2 was rolling around with people hyped for it. But after a handful of episodes, the vast majority of people just dropped it, abandoned it, and never went back and forgot about it. In the wise words of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, 50,000 people used to love this show. Now it's a ghost town. And I feel like that's absolutely sinful. Vinland Saga Season 1 and Season 2 is night and day. Season 2 is absolutely nothing like Season 1, which I imagine is why most people dropped it, because I don't even know why I'm speculating. That is why most people dropped it, because a lot of them called it boring. Season 1 of this show is very action-oriented. It follows the story of Thorfinn, who's a very young child, the son of a very powerful Viking, who watches his dad die right in front of him and swears that he is going to dedicate his life to kill the man responsible, Askeladd. And he joins Askeladd's team, perpetually training to be strong enough to kill him, because Askeladd is a very strong warrior, and Thorfinn needs to train hard in order to get that revenge. So Season 1 is all about Thorfinn training to kill Askeladd. It's a story of revenge at any cost. He dedicates his life from the time where he's a child to the time where he's a young adult, just killing. He's killing for Askeladd and part of his crew in order to get the experience, become strong enough to finally eventually kill Askeladd to avenge the death of his father. And all of Season 1 is very focused on this relationship between Askeladd and Thorfinn. It's a really well-written show. It's not just mindless action. They are great characters. I still think Askeladd is one of the best villains anime's really ever seen, and he was only here for 1 season. I don't want to get into spoilers, but in order to talk about why Season 2 flopped for so many people, I have to. So, spoiler warning, Season 1 ends with Askeladd dying, and Thorfinn was not the one to kill him. So this leaves a void in the soul of Thorfinn, because he spent his whole life with one goal in mind. He is actually just he is a single-celled organism, and that cell is fucking vengeance. He wants to kill Askeladd no matter what. That was his whole reason for existing. And now, He watched Askeladd die and he didn't get to do it, thus he'll never be able to actually avenge his father. It also leaves him feeling more confused than I was at the end of Inception. He spent his whole life just trying to kill Askeladd, wanting to kill Askeladd, but he also spent his whole life with him, training with him, eating with him, battling with him. It kind of became like Askeladd was his father figure. So he was also just kind of heartbroken to see him die as well. So it was a whole wave of conflicted feelings on everything, and Thorfinn was broken from it. Season 1 ends with that. Season 2 picks up a little bit into the future, and we're looking at a very different Thorfinn. He's hollow, he's empty, he's a fucking shell of a man, he's a husk. He's now a slave on a farm, doing labor with no real purpose for living, and we get to learn about Thorfinn and watch him kind of figure himself out. Season 2 has almost no action. It is very much focused on being a character piece of Thorfinn and following his journey from just a killing machine, a damn near ass-beaten immortal deity of cheek clapping on the battlefield, to now being a farmer. He is a slave, and he's coming to terms with all of the evils that he's taken part in, and it makes him sick. Eventually, he does, I don't want to get into big spoilers here, but he does reconcile, like, the things he did is unforgivable, and he wants to dedicate his life to helping people instead of killing people. Season 2 is all about this journey with Thorfinn, and a lot happens throughout there. There is action, there is fighting, but not nearly to the level of Season 1. It's not the focal point anymore. And that's why most people found it boring. Like, I don't even think there's a single fight until, like, episode 7, and it's like a small-scale one. It is not at all an action series anymore. And for a lot of people, that sucked fuck. They were really upset about it. You can see a lot of people talking about how boring it is every single week until they eventually drop it, and now they look back on the series poorly. They think it's shitty. They don't like the direction it went. A lot of people view it like it was the vegetables of the meal. Like they had a beautiful, succulent entree for season 1 of Vinland Saga, and now they're stuck here eating the Brussels sprouts and the kale. And they didn't like the taste of it. And I think that sucks, because what Vinland Saga did with Season 2, I find extremely brave, and it is a masterclass in character development. I've never seen character development like this in an anime before, period. They took a character who was very one-dimensional in Season 1. He just wants revenge. That's it. They spent the entire season driving that home. Now, there is some character development to Thorfinn throughout Season 1, but not like in a tremendous way. From the start of the show to the end of the show, he wants to be a warrior, he wants to kill, he wants to avenge his dad. And it stays that way for the whole season. And he'll do anything to do it. Kill everyone, kill anyone, doesn't matter. He'll fucking slam 2 innocent civilians' heads together like Stone Cold's beer, blowing their skulls wide open if it means that he gets a little closer to killing Askeladd. It didn't matter to him. Season 2, that character's not there anymore. It is a completely different Thorfinn. And they explore it in such an amazing way. It gets so deep and philosophical. Like, I've never seen an anime even bother going as hard as this one does for a character arc. And it's not just Thorfinn, he is the focus, but every character that surrounds him is either the perfect foil or a perfect view of, like, the old Thorfinn. Because there are other people around him that only want to kill. And there's very strong warriors around him, and they do fight. And there's just so much to Season 2. I don't want to get into spoilers because I really do recommend it. I just think it's heartbreaking to see a show that put such an emphasis on doing something special and then getting shit on for it. Now, of course, there are still people that call this Vinland Saga, talking about how it's like the best season in anime, but that's not the majority of people. Most people probably watch anime just for the sake of action and fights, because that's kind of what the medium gets known for in, like, a mainstream audience, and there's nothing wrong with that. I want to make it clear. If you don't like the slow burn character piece of Season 2 of Vinland Saga, you're not wrong for it. It's not, I'm not coming over here as like the opinion police spitting on you for it, for not being sophisticated enough to appreciate good writing or whatever. I just find it a bit sad and even a little surprising that more people didn't appreciate this direction, because they took a character that, again, is very simple, and they fleshed them out over the course of an entire season to make them an extremely impressively deep character. Flawed, fleshed out, and really goes through this journey of struggle and self-realization that I haven't seen really explored in a mainstream anime before. And just so many people write it off as boring or uninteresting, saying how it fell off, and it hurts to see, I guess. I think Season 2 of Vinland Saga is extraordinary. I love season 1. I still think the action in season 1 is absolutely fantastic. And there is action in season 2, and I think it's good. I think they still do a great job with it, but again, it's very rare. And when the action is there, that shit is still slapping. But again, that is not what's front and center here. I really appreciated the risk they took, because they didn't just take a risk and then fall flat on their face. I really think they nailed it. I think they absolutely fucking crushed it. It is a beautiful character piece. Well, and not just one character. Every character in season 2 is really good for the most part. It's just one of those things where, you know, it's basically like if a restaurant changed its menu without letting the customers know. So Vinland Saga season 1 was serving up fucking ass on the menu, and that was a real succulent, juicy set of cheeks. And then you come back to Vinland Saga restaurant for season 2 expecting ass, but this time you're getting tits. And you're like, well, I was more of an ass guy. That's kind of what has happened here with Vinland Saga. And for me, I think the ass and the tits are both great. I really, really do think season 2 of Vinland Saga is something special that if most people had just given a chance, would have really come to enjoy. There is no shortage of just mindless action anime. There is no shortage of just fucking turn your brain off, shove popcorn in your face shonen, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that, just having a good time with it. But this is one of the few anime that actually gets very, very thought-provoking and very deep on a level that most don't even dare to go. So I just think Vinland Saga Season 2 is criminally underrated and overhated by people that just found it boring. So yeah, anyway, I just want to talk about it a little bit because it's been on my mind since I finished the season finale a few days ago. I was going to make a moist meter for it, but I felt like that just wouldn't do it justice. I really wanted to dive in even deeper here and explain why I think it is a very, very good season of anime that most people aren't even giving a chance. So yeah, that's really about it. See ya.